Hello, everybody, and welcome tonight here to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Full Send Racing 175 here in the Original Rebels Racing League for the Friday night Xtreme Xfinity Series. My name is Zach Wetstein. I'm here tonight with Tanner Marr. How you doing tonight, Tanner?
Zach, I'm doing good. Looking forward to calling the race tonight with you. We all know Atlanta. It's a very tough track in many aspects as far as tire wear and stuff like that goes. So, looks to be a pretty interesting night tonight as we see guys fighting multiple lines and trying to conserve their tires as the race goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about tires. One element of it, the heat in that racetrack, 110 degrees today. It's around noontime, 110 degrees. That is a very hot racetrack. And then you kind of mix in the fact that it's kind of a beaten up race surface. And so it's very hard on those tires. And these drivers are going to have to manage that all night long. 115 laps here tonight around this mile-and-a-half speedway. And we are underway qualifying. We'll talk a little bit more about this track as we go on. As we have here, Jason Warren out on track. Sorry, we'll turn on sound for you. Jason in that 32 machine. He told me before the race he's going to stick to that highline qualifying race. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, you're seeing that here. He's on that highline through 1 and 2, and we're probably going to see it through 3 and 4.
It's just a different track now. I mean, used to you'd see people just glued to the bottom, maybe up about half a groove. But ever since iRacing added in the new track data, it's it's added for some more lines at these mile-and-a-half type tracks, and it's going to provide a lot more racing opportunities for tonight's race.
Yeah, Jason Warren has not won in the series yet this season, and this car's kind of trumped him a little bit with luck mainly, but he looks to kind of top that here tonight. He was fastest on the charts during practice. Going to look to lay down the same kind of lap here in qualifying, but so far, Jamie Barkus, speaking of winning, has won 2 times this season, has the pole spot so far, but Jason Warren going to try to change that. Not able to. P2 for that Chevrolet machine. He's going to be right behind Jamie Barkus in the times, but still a lot of people left to try to qualify and take that spot away from Jamie Barkus.
And Jamie has proven. Jamie's proven, like you said, coming out winning 2 races in a row. I mean, he's proven that, he actually gets knocked off, Zach. Justin Hendry or whatever in the 85 machine actually just knocked him off.
Justin Hendry in that 85. He knocks fellow Ford driver off the top of the leaderboard. Jeff Paisley himself going to try to do the same. Jeff also one of those people in the series who's been pretty fast, just not a lot of luck. So we'll see if he can gain some here tonight. He's 8th fastest so far with the first lap. Down the back stretch for his second lap. We'll see if he can at least get himself into the top 5. Yeah, but this track, I mean, you talked about the lines, how before this update, you'd really just see a lot of people bottom feeding, but we're starting to see a lot of people use that high line post-update. Jeff Paisley, 10th fastest so far. We're starting to see a lot of people use that high line, and that's going to create some interesting racing on track. As you're going to have the people who are used to that bottom line are going to stick with it, and then you're going to have the people who are going to try that high line. And when you use that high line, it may be faster at certain tracks, but the one thing it does do is put you even closer to that wall and closer in danger to just moving up a little too high, and you get sucked up to that wall.
Yeah, a lot of these tracks, Zach, whenever you run up near the walls, you know you're a fellow racer. On exit, sometimes it just feels like no matter what you do, no matter how much you lift, it just feels like it almost reaches out and grabs you. And once you hit that wall the first time, you could possibly hit it 3 or 4 more times before you finally just decide, okay, I'm not running this high lane anymore. But all it takes is one mistake up there, and you got quite a bit of damage to your car.
Absolutely. We got Derek Garrison here. I believe that is I haven't seen that name before. So new driver here in the Xtreme Xfinity Series. and qualifying unfortunately ends before he can cross the start-finish line there, so he's going to be 18th, and we're seeing some names. I noticed Garrett Kinder, he was second fastest during practice. He did not lay down a qualifying lap, or at least wasn't able to, maybe touch the wall, and when you get a 0, even if you get a 0x, it takes away that lap. So he was pretty fast in practice. Going to be looking forward to seeing maybe if he can work his way through the field from all the way in 24th.
I know you touched on it a while ago, Zach, but like you said, this track, it's a worn out surface. It's pretty old. Add on top of that, it's 111 degrees tonight or today in sim time. It's noon. So these boys are going to have a pretty tough atmosphere to race in right here. You know it's going to be slick for the first few laps. It may be slick all night. I'm not sure. I tested a little bit. It seemed to get tighter as the run went on, but I wasn't on this hot of a track either, so that could change things.
Justin Hendry with that pole spot over Jamie Barkus with a 31.288. Speaking of Jamie Barkus, his outside on that front row, starting second with Jason Warren in third, and Mike Hornbeck on his outside in fourth. Scotty Stevens fifth in that 53 machine. Patrick Drabik in the 07 next to him in sixth, with Josh Lokenvents behind those two in seventh, with Jesse Necula qualifying in the 8th position. Josh Smith will qualify 9th, and running out the top 10 tonight, Jeff Paisley. Starting 11th, Dylan Walterman. 12th, Joey Buscemi. Qualifying 13th will be Josh Sexton and Mickey Isaac 14th. And Tanner, if you want to kind of take the reins and take us through the rest of the field, you can.
So we got starting 15th, you got Logan the Fish Sturgeon. And 16th will be Sam Wetstein. Starting right behind them, and Ray Page in the number 17. Or starting 17th, sorry. I don't have the scoring and timing like what you got. Starting 18th on the grid will be Derek M. Garrison, somebody new to the series. Good to see new people. 19 is Tia Swink. 20th will be Garrett Kinder. He was second fastest in practice.
It's Brandon Wallace 20th. Sorry, I didn't want to.
Yeah, see, it's got you can finish it up. My scoring and timing's all up.
Oh, okay. You're good. You're good. Brandon Wallace is qualified 20th with, I believe, all these guys. Yeah, these guys didn't put a lap down. 18th through 24th. Brandon Wallace 20th, 21st. Tyler Rice, Philip Manzo 22nd, Eric Santee 23rd, and Garrett Kinder rounding out the field. I want to see actually, because he was, like I said, he was fast in practice. So I'm interested to see if he actually gridded up here. So let's take a look. We have 5 people who did not grid up, it looks like. Oh, wait, yeah. I need to do something in my scoring real quick.
Garrett is on track. He's going to be the last car on the grid right here. So that's gonna be interesting. I would like to say maybe he tagged the wall running the high line. We know it is possible, but he may have just elected to start in the back, Zach.
Sorry, I had to do something. I had to change around my graphics, and I needed to make sure it drew all of the cars. It wasn't drawing all, and now it shows that those guys are on track. So pace cars off. That new sedan pace cars off. And, oh, we already got a driver spinning the tires. Justin Hendry.
That's a problem, Zach, with this cold tires, and I'm not sure if he'll get a caution or not being on the grass like that. A tough break for Justin after setting fast time and qualifying and getting a pole position. Just lit the tires up on the restart, allowing Scotty Stevens actually to get the lead right here.
We're going to take a quick look inside the car here. And, oh, that's stretched out. I apologize. Yeah, it just spins the tires.
Just cold tires.
Oh, and now they're wrecking back here. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Just a lot of this is just from cold tires, Zach, and you hit on it. 110, 111 degree track. Is that Jason Warren I see on your screen?
Yeah.
Another case of bad luck for Jason Warren in a 32 machine.
Yeah, he got collected in that spinning of the tires with Justin Hendry. Justin Hendry spun across his nose, and it looks like he got caught up in some more stuff here. Let's check it out. Him on the inside. Jeff Paisley just gets loose on the outside and nowhere to go for the 32.
A tough lick, and unfortunately, he's on the brakes there. You see the wheel's not rolling, but when you're going 170, 180, it's hard to slow down. He comes back up on track and collects a few more people. But yeah, just unfortunate. Jeff Paisley on his outside left Jason Warren nowhere to go.
A lot of carnage on lap 1 or lap 2 or so. Wow. I mean, spinning the tires was our leader, and then wrecking out of turn 2 down the back stretch. You see Jason gets that quick repair.
That was insane seeing Justin in the 85 machine just light the tires up on the restart. I'm not sure I've seen the leader do it. I've seen that happen throughout the field, on restarts and the initial start, but that was a tough break for Justin Henry as he just tried to initiate the pace for the race and just lit the back tires up.
Well, with this first caution of the race, and take a quick look at the Xtreme Xfinity Series schedule here. Next week we head to Iowa for 150 laps in a week, and then we head to Dover, I think, a couple of weeks later. I think we take 1 week off, so a week off in between Iowa and Dover, and then we head to IRP, Lucas Oil. I love that track. I love the Xfinity cars on that track, so I'm looking forward to watching these guys put on a show. And then you see the rest of your schedule there. So we have, I believe, 11 races left until the playoffs now. I mean, we still have a lot of races left, yeah, but it's kind of crazy. We're already 6 weeks into this season already.
You know what they say, time goes by fast when you're having fun.
Absolutely, and I mean, I'll point it out again like I always do. I mean, that round of 8, Darlington, Talladega, and Richmond. Whenever you can say, and Richmond, may not be the toughest of tracks when you compare it to some, but when you can say that's the easiest track of the round, I mean, that says something about the other 2 tracks you're going to.
You're exactly right. I mean, you call a lot of the races I'm in, Zach. I love my short tracks, but when you put these Xfinity cars on a short track, a lot of things can happen. You're going to have some shakers and movers throughout that race, and there's a lot of chance for some carnage.
Yeah, Darlington and Talladega to begin that round. I mean, it's very important when you begin a new round to get off to as good of a start as you can, and yeah, that can be tough at Darlington. So, I mean, Dover, Kentucky, North Wilkesboro, whoever's in the playoffs at that point better enjoy that round, because it only gets tougher from there. And then we end the season at Phoenix. So 150 lap race to decide the championship, 4 drivers. So looking forward to that one. I believe it is just going to be 4 drivers. Whoever finishes the furthest ahead wins, but I'll have to confirm that with Logan. But either way, whatever points way they do it with the playoffs, I'm looking forward to it. But still a lot of fun races left on this regular season schedule. A lot of variety too. I mean, we talk about IRP, Gateway, and then we got Indianapolis, Michigan, Talladega. So, and then obviously you can't shy away from that Daytona road course to end the season. So a lot of variety and a lot of fun still left on this regular season schedule.
If we're looking towards one race that I think is going to be the biggest what-if race, it's that road course at Daytona.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Such a wild card race. All right, we're ready to go back racing here. Scotty Stevens, your new leader in that 53 on the bottom. Patrick Jerbick on his outside. Jamie Barkas third, Mike Hornbeck fourth. And Josh Jesse Neckerle, your top 5. And the green flag is out. And that red number 53 is out and fast. He is gone by about 2 or 3 car lengths over Patrick Jerbick. And we are still side by side a little bit further in the pack.
As Patrick Jerbick's actually looking down below the 53 line right now. As you stated earlier, I'm pretty sure you said he was the one that said he was going to work that low line, and he just worked it to a marvelous way right then, because he was able to capture the lead from Scotty Stevens right then pretty fast.
Yeah, I'm interested to see It seems like maybe that inside line is a little bit faster race-wise, but will it eat up the tires more? And will those people who run that higher line to begin, will it save their tires better? And will they be able to take advantage of that later in the run if we can get there? That question, I mean, yet to be answered until we actually get a run like that. So we'll see. And speaking of kind of green flag runs, if we do get them, we're looking about, for fuel-wise, we're looking at about 50 to 55 laps, but tire-wise, you will probably not make it to that lap. You're probably going to want to pit at least 10 to 20 laps earlier than that just for tires. So that is your fuel window, but here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the tire window is usually more important.
Yeah, I think they'll pit. They get 5 total tires tonight. I know it's normally 4 in this series, Zach. So heads up move by the race control admins tonight, Logan and them, for giving these drivers 1 extra set of tires to play with. So I'm noticing Scotty in this 53 machine, he's elected to stay on the high side, Zach, for most of this run right here so far. And you notice these guys on the inside, they're picking him off pretty quick. That must be either a tire saving strategy, or he's just trying to maybe just ride for a little bit. I'm not sure, but he hasn't elected to move down the track yet. And
we're starting to see a little bit of, for those who aren't on iRacing, side drafting has been brought into the sim. We haven't seen a lot of it in the past, which, you know, people have wanted side drafting. And you saw Mike Hornbeck in that yellow car on the bottom down that backstretch. He got to the left quarter panel of Patrick Drabick and then got as far away from him as he could to, you know, so Patrick couldn't side draft him back. So that's one thing you might see here tonight. This isn't a super speedway, but when you're on those front and back stretches, sometimes you might see a driver kind of take the air off of that left side of the car and then run as far away from him as they can so they can't side draft them back.
You're exactly right. And speaking of the air, dirty air on iRacing is a real big thing. You get behind somebody, if you're following in their wake right behind them, in the same line if they're running in the corner, you're going to get a little bit tighter. And when that air is dumped off the spoiler, you might get loose. I mean, it's just like real racing. That's one thing iRacing's gotten better about. They've gotten better with the aero package and how these cars feel versus how they drive in real life.
A lot of fun racing up here near the lead for about 5 or 6 laps now. Mike Hornbeck has been knocking on the door, but here comes Dylan Walterman. You see him in that purple 96. He's in 3rd place right now, also knocking on the door of the 54. Mike Hornbeck, as he goes to the inside, but as these laps go by, it looks like that outside line is definitely prevailing, as it's just really tough to make a pass on that inside.
I was actually afraid we was going to get contact right there. Sorry for interrupting.
No. I kind of spoke late there. I was going to say that's where we might see some of that side drafting. If you're trying to make a pass on the inside and you can't make the pass, you're probably going to see that driver side draft as much as they can to stall that car out next to him to try to pass him into the next turn. So I definitely think that is probably one way we're going to see that side draft work, as here comes Mike Hornbeck. Really close racing for the lead here.
Wasn't a whole lot of daylight in between them two drivers right there. And it looked like Hornbeck may have touched the wall a little bit. Not enough to hurt him, but a little scrape of the wall going on the back stretch. But you see there's a few drivers that are electing to stay down low. As we see Scotty Stevens and the 69 machine of, I'm pretty sure that's Barkus, if I remember correctly. Yes, yep. Jamie Barkus.
And, you know, it's funny because someone can tell you as much as they want to that they're going to run that bottom and they're going to stick with it. But when you get in that race and you see everybody up on that top line and it's the faster way around, you're going to have to adapt as a driver. And most likely you will, just because you can't stick with something that's not working. And I can't remember which one of those, whether it was Patrick Drabick or Jamie Barkus, that told me that they were going to stick with that bottom. But obviously both of them right now are on that high line, and it just proves that whatever happens in the race, you got to follow what becomes popular and fast, because if you stick with one thing and it's not the fastest way around, you're going to get passed. And we're just seeing how tough it is to pass right now. So you got to keep every position you can.
This is another one of the type of tracks you hear it all the time. It sounds cliche, but you got to race the racetrack. Yeah, you're racing the people around you, but like you said, they came in with a game plan of, I'm staying on the bottom. It's gonna work for me. But then you lose 2 or 3 spots to the guys on the high lane, or they start gapping you, and then eventually you're like, well, I got to move up in order to maintain my pace. So You just got to race the racetrack as well as racing the competitors around you.
And obviously Patrick Rubick and Jamie Barkas, who have been really strong all season long, are still up in the top 3 right now. But when there's a change mid-season like this, and there's a driver, Josh Lokenvents, he got into the wall there. We talked about how that might be the faster way around, but the closer you drive to that wall, the more likely you are to touch that wall, and you don't want to. So Lokenvents thankfully gets off the wall and doesn't spin or anything, and he's still straight. But when you get an update mid-season like this for these Xfinity cars, because they were a part of the update in terms of changes to the car / tire / setup, maybe new drivers start to rise to the top as the setup changes. You never know. Some people might drop off. Some people might go, more to the top. And I think we are starting to see some new names up in the top 10 that maybe, or really the top 5, because I'm seeing some of these names and they're usually in the top 10. But we're starting to see some newer names rise to that top 5, top 3.
You're exactly right. I mean, it changes. It may not change everything. That may be drastic to say, but it is a big change. 2 weeks ago on Atlanta, you were running in the bottom and the middle, and that's just how you got around this track, and you prayed your tires held up for 20 or so laps. Now, iRacing, with the update they did for the new build, they gave us a little bit more of a better track model, I think. Maybe the tire model may not be great, but I like the track model. I like what they're going with right here. I really do. I love seeing multiple racing groups.
Yeah, but we're just seeing, Tyler Rice, I think he might have touched the wall a little bit there in 3 and 4, but he still prevailed over Sam Wetstein as he just, when he touches the wall out of turn 2, that's going to hurt. But even when you maybe struggle a little bit on the high line, it still usually prevails. But him touching that wall out of turn 2 is going to cost him 1, maybe 2 positions as Brandon Wallace looks to the inside.
Zach, we could. I'd like to do an update on Garrett Kinder, who elected to start in the tail of the field after being second fastest in practice, And then another driver I'd like to check in on is Jason Warren in the 32 machine. We saw him caught up in an earlier wreck. As we see Garrett Kinder, he's currently riding in P17 on my timing and scoring. So yep. He's made up a little ground, started 24th. And Jason Warren is currently sitting a lap down, if my timing and scoring is correct, in 22nd position.
Yep, he's in that free pass position if a caution were to come out.
Jeff Paisley, another driver that was kind of tangled up in that first mess, him and Justin Hendry. Justin's in 14th and Jeff's in P16. So they started up front, but luckily they did put themselves behind the 8 ball, but luckily they did it earlier enough where they should be able to battle their way back up to the front if they just show some good patience and good race pace.
One person I want to take a quick look at he's shown as the 999 in iRacing. He's the number 8 you see there on screen. Derek M. Garrison, new to the series like we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, and he started P18 and he's already up to, P5, but this is for P4 if he can sneak up in front of Mike Hornbeck, and he does as Derek takes that 4th position. So new to the series and already kind of making a name for himself as he's up inside the top 5 after starting outside the top 15.
So I've ran some races and officials with Derek Garrison, and yes, I can totally vouch for him when I say he's a very, very fast driver, but he's also very, very patient. He reminds me a lot of like a Joshua Sexton or Garrett Kinder. They'll just take the race as it comes to him. I know that's crazy to say with him being up in 4th spot now, but 9 times out of 10, he's just going to take what's given to him, and obviously a lot's been given to him if he's got up here this quick.
Man, when we talk about tire wear, you know a track is extremely cruel on the tires when you're going down the backstretch, and if you try to make a quick move with the steering wheel, you almost spin yourself out. That's how worn out these tires are starting to get. We're really in this race. We're only about maybe 20 laps into this run, maybe a little bit less, and these tires are already screaming to be changed.
They got 24 laps on the board with maybe about 18, 19 green flag laps maybe, and they've already lost 2 seconds on their pace versus their qualifying and practice pace. So this is a very, very tough track. We hit on it. When it comes to tire wear, it's going to hurt you if you come out here and abuse your tires. But we see Patrick Bick, Jamie Barkas. I mean, they've been the class of the field all season, and new update, but nothing's changed as we see the 07 machine just riding right up next to that wall. in the Kyle Larson line, basically. That's pretty impressive to do that lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, that definitely has to get a little grueling. I mean, this setup only is getting tighter and tighter, I imagine, up on that high line, and you got to be very careful on entry. If you overdrive it even a little bit, you're going to get into that wall. So, I mean, really all these drivers so far doing a nice job at maintaining their car. And I took a quick look at the scoring, and we just look at Garrett Kinder. I mean, he was in 17th, and we were talking about how he had made decent ground, but he's now up to 13th, so he's made up 4 spots since the last time that we looked at him, and he's already looking now after Joshua Sexton for P12.
As he made a pretty aggressive move right there. As you hit on, you got to be careful doing that, going down the backstretch to dip down low aggressively like that, because you can knock the tires loose a little bit, especially with a track that's sitting at, oh wow, Zach, it went from 110 when we gridded to 117, so
yeah,
it's only getting hotter too.
Absolutely. And maybe Garrett Kinder, he was in 17th, and Joshua Sexton an issue. Garrett Kinder sitting P17, hadn't moved too much. Maybe that was him saving the tires, because he is moving through the field right now.
As Jason Warren is looking to actually make a move on Joshua Sexton, it may not be for position, it could be more for pride right now, but he is in a lucky dog spot, so as far up as he can get, no matter how long his green flag run goes, he wants to stay in that lucky dog spot.
I mean, Garrett Kinder right now, he's making passes on the inside, outside, it doesn't matter. You saw him get a little squirrely there in the front stretch, and that's just those old tires. But, yeah, I definitely think he did a really nice job at saving tires early on. Derek Garrison, we just took a look at him in P4. I believe he may have touched the wall because he has fallen back to 6th.
So when you were talking, I noticed he got up to P3 and was chasing down Barkas. He actually got it underneath a second. But, yeah, I guess there had to be something happen because he's falling back to P6. Now back to be P7. Gets into the wall again right there, Zach.
Yeah, that car maybe just falling off. Maybe used up those tires a little too much early on as he's falling back to P7. And just hoping
really
to hold
loose
off.
On exit right then.
Hoping to hold off Joey Buscemi now as he's about 3 car lengths behind him. We're seeing that car on the bottom, not on the top. So maybe getting a little gun shy after touching that wall.
And that's another thing. I have to battle that. If we're at Homestead or even a track like Atlanta now, if I get into the wall once, I don't want to be up there again for a little bit. It takes a while to get your confidence back, and you worded it perfect, gun shy. You don't want to get in that wall again, so the best way not to get in that wall again, move down. But then you're going to lose pace. So at some point, you got to just bite the bullet and get back up there.
So we saw, I believe, I thought I saw maybe Jeff Paisley go down pit road. No, he's still in 12th. I think we're going to start seeing pit stops here soon. It just takes one driver. The instant one driver goes into pit road that's on the lead lap or maybe closer to that top 10, you're going to start seeing a lot of these drivers go down there just because you talked about it. 2-second fall off right now, and you just can't stay out there too much longer when the other drivers around you have gotten 4 fresh tires.
You're exactly right. And it's risky to be that first driver, Zach, but the risk versus reward, if you get rewarded for it and the caution never comes out, you're sitting great because you're making up so much time, 2 seconds per lap, ever how long the other guys decide to stay out. So if I'm riding around 10th, 11th, 12th, I'm going to bite the bullet right here, and I'm going to go come in and take my fresh rubber and just hope the caution don't come.
Man, these front two, speaking of people who don't want cautions to come out, Patrick Jabick and Jamie Barkas, nose to tail right now. Maybe a little bit of room in between them. They are teammates, so they're going to leave each other a little bit of room. But they have pulled out 3 seconds ahead of Dylan Walterman. So we talk about these two week in and week out in this series. And, well, here we are at Atlanta, and it's no different.
I'm ashamed because off the top of my head, I cannot remember their team name. But it's obvious they have one heck of a program going on over there. Those are 2 class drivers. And you talk to them, you wouldn't know they're any different than anybody else. They're super good dudes, and not only that, they come out here and I don't want to say just dominate to talk about maybe the lesser than drivers, but they do. I mean, they come out here and they put on a show each and every week.
Jam Cook Racing, these two are a part of, and I don't really think it's demeaning to other drivers to say it. I think it's just a compliment to these two, how well they run, to say that they dominate week in and week out. We do see other drivers have their races, but these two are really just two of the most consistent drivers of the series. Currently, Jerbick has the best average finish of the series with 4th, and Jamie Barkus, we'll talk about another couple of consistent finishers. Garrett Kinder and William Griffith, all three have an average finish of 8th. Jamie Barkus, Garrett Kinder, William Griffith. So, we won't. These two are fast, but we also have a lot of other consistent finishers in that top 4 in points. Patrick Jerbick, Jamie Barkus, Garrett Kinder, and William Griffith, your top 4 in points, and all really good at just being inside that top 5, top 10 at the end of these races. And so, obviously, it's early on in this race, lap 35 come to lap 36, but we're seeing a lot of the familiar names here in this top 5, and Garrett Kinder now up to 9th.
Zach, have you seen anybody on your timing and scoring elect to go down pit road and gamble a little bit, maybe pit?
We do have Tyler Rice and Brandon Wallace. These two are kind of more in the middle to rear of the field, so we're seeing them take a chance here, lap 36. We'll see if more of the drivers here in the top 10, top 15 start to come down, as 18th and back, starting with Jason Warren, are all a lap down. Ray Page the next in 17th. So, yeah, I'm interested to see with those two pitting if maybe that starts to draw some more names. And as here comes Justin Hendry. Also, Jason Warren. And the bad thing here for guys like Jason Warren, who's already a lap down trying to get that free pass, is he's probably going to go 2 laps down pitting here. He'll obviously eventually get it back just being on fresher tires or just by these leaders pitting. But that means he's 2 laps down currently. If a caution were to come out, that puts him right back to a lap down if he were to get the wave around. So he's hoping for a while now that a caution doesn't come out, now that he's kind of set his bed and went down to pit road. But we're starting to see even more names go down pit road. 3 more drivers.
I think you called it earlier, Zach. It's going to be monkey see, monkey do at this point. Once that first person in about 10th position, 9th, 8th, decides to finally go down pit road, you're going to start seeing the iRacing chatter pick up a little bit with people saying pitting in and whatnot.
Jamie Barkus was right behind Patrick Jerbick, but Jerbick has started to run away now. 5/10, 6/10 lead over Jamie Barkus. And these two have now extended that lead to over 4.5 seconds. So they continue to run away. Josh Smith, he took that P3 away from Dylan Walterman. So he's now up to P3 and going to look to try to at least make up a little bit of ground on our top 2.
Zach, I say it every week. I love getting your insight. You do a lot of these longer races. Like I said earlier, I do more short track stuff. So if you're Jamie Barkus or Patrick Jerbick right now, you're sitting about almost 5 seconds over 3rd place. When do you pit? When's the right time to go in here? I wouldn't know what to do right here if I'm in their position.
Honestly, I wait until either I'm comfortable to pit or I start to see more of the top 5 pit. I mean, if we look at our leaders here, they have a 4.7 second lead as Dylan Walterman, who was P4. He just pit. So I think maybe that might start the chain. But right now, these top 2 are 4.5 seconds over 3rd, 7 seconds or more over 4th. So when you have that much time, and over 8th place, Jeff Paisley, they're 14 seconds. So when you have that much time over these positions, you're faster. You can give up a couple of laps before you pit, but here they come.
They're coming in right now, yep. With the 07, the 69, the 29, the Jesse's coming in. That's going to... The drivers that haven't pitted yet, Zach, they might stay out for a few more laps, hoping for a caution. But I would say fuel has to start calculating now, too. I don't know. I would think between 50, 55 laps, maybe.
I got to say, a big thank you to Dylan Walterman there, because he made me sound smarter than I am, because I said if anybody pits in that top 5, we might see him come. And he was 4th place. He pit, and, well, here the leaders are in pit road. So I appreciate it, Dylan.
Normally, Zach, we have a joke between us, the commentary curse, but it worked out perfect for you right then. You look like the smartest dude in the room right now.
As yeah, we still have 3 people still out here. We'll see if Ray Page stays out. He would be the 4th if he does, and we're going to start seeing. Look at Logan Sturgeon on those fresher tires. He's about to just fly by Ray.
Yeah, you're just a setting duck at this point. If you're on the 4 old tires versus 4 fresh tires, only thing you're hoping for is a caution at this point. Trap some of them drivers a lap down, and I mean, if the caution falls now, Ray Page and them, they're sitting great. But if the caution never comes, you're losing a lot of time right now to these 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, I really think this top. I'm surprised Mike Hornbeck hasn't gone down to pit road because he was really in that top 10, and Josh Smith as well. So I think if you're still out right now, I think they've kind of made their decision is to maybe stay out longer and hope for a caution. I think they've really made their decision and are kind of final on it, or else they would have pit by now. So you see Patrick Drabik there getting his lap back.
Just slicing his way through traffic right then. He passed one on the low line, went up high, and had to go back down to the middle. That just shows that 07 machine, he can drive it on the middle, high, bottom, apron, in the grass. It don't matter. Patrick Drabik, he's going to be fast.
How long will these top 4 stay out? That is the question. Patrick Drabik, who just, and also Jamie Barkis. And there goes our leader, Josh Smith, down to pit road. We'll see if Mickey Isaac follows. He does not. So Mickey Isaac to the point. Mike Hornbeck in second. And these are the last 2 on old tires still out there.
So right now, if it cycles back through, our lineup's going to be, it's going to be a little shook up between 7th, 8th, and 9th, if I do recall. But 1st, 2nd, 3rd, well, you got Derek that should cycle up and be 3rd if it all goes according to plan.
Yeah, I was eyeing. No, he'll kind of go out to that same position, but yeah, a lot of the top 10 kind of stay in the same, maybe switching a couple positions here and there, but pretty much the same top 10 or so. But right now, Mickey Isaac and Mike Hornbeck just hoping a caution comes out before 3rd place Patrick Drabik can catch up, which he's 25 seconds back. So really, I think, you know, they're losing 3 seconds at this point a lap. So I'm not sure which will happen first, run out of fuel or 3rd place Patrick Drabik catch you. So I guess we'll find out, as I think they're going to stay out as long as they can.
You know, Zach, I like this call by Mike and Mickey because, and this is not degrading to nobody in this lobby, but it was proven that Patrick and Jamie, they had a 4-second cushion before they elected to pit right there. And so you probably won't beat those guys when it comes to race pace. So you may have to beat them in terms of strategy. As I hear the 0-1, he's electing to go down pit road now, Zach.
Yep, there he goes. He's on the bottom. Now, will Mike Hornbeck follow? He'll stay out at least another lap longer, but I can't, you know, we talked at the beginning, 50 to 55 laps is probably the distance for fuel. I'm never 100% on that, so don't quote me on it, but 50 to 55 is a guess, so he's getting close to that 50 lap mark, and a couple of laps under caution, we'll give him that. But at least, you know, 5 or 6 laps until that 55 mark. We'll see how long Mike Hornbeck stays out. He's the last to stay out, and currently being hunted down by Patrick Drabik on those 4 fresher tires, currently 19 seconds back, and that's going to shrink every single turn of this track with those 4 fresh tires and being 2 seconds faster.
Zach, I'm going to hop over into another voice channel, and I'm gonna figure out the fuel situation, see what these boys got, and I will relay the information on when I get back.
All right. As he's still staying out, and I mean, he's just watching all of these cars just fly past him. So we'll see just how long that car decides to stay out, as once again the only car out on older tires, currently 16 seconds ahead of Patrick Drabik and Jamie Barkis, as these two still run in that would be 1st and 2nd once Mike Hornbeck pits.
So Zach, hearing from a few of the drivers, you can actually go about 70 laps.
Oh,
But
70. Okay.
they said even on them 30 lap runs, their tires were completely shot. So Mike Hornbeck, I think he said he's going down pit road now to elect to stay out 50 laps on these tires. That's you're asking a lot out of this set of tires.
Yeah, Mike Hornbeck tried to do all he could to wait for a caution, but no such luck as he goes down pit road and back to the race lead. Patrick Drabick and Jamie Barkus right behind him.
And Jamie, I think Jamie's just playing almost follow the leader right now. We mentioned their teammates, and no need to be aggressive right now on lap 52. He's just not letting Patrick Trebick and the 07 machine just check out on him. He's just staying right there with him. And these are your two to watch right now, I think. I mean, that's not like I'm going out on a limb saying that either.
Oh, absolutely. If we find a way to go green the rest of the way, which, I mean, we're not even halfway yet. We still got about 4 laps until that happens. But if we go green the rest of the way, these two are definitely the cars to beat, and I'm not sure if there is anyone else that can. They're currently 5.7 seconds ahead of Derek Garrison in third. So a long way to go for these drivers, but they're probably feeling good, and I think, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Dylan Walterman probably had a penalty because he's currently sitting P19 when he was in that top 5 when he pit.
That's a risk you hit. This is not a terribly hard pit road to hit, Zach, but every pit road's hard to hit on green flag. You try to get as much as you can before you have to slow down to pit road speed. And if you're just a little bit too aggressive, they're going to bop you every time. As we see Garrett Kinder. Garrett Kinder's worked his way up to 5th, Zach, and he is currently chasing down Jesse in the 29 machine. So he's definitely, like you said, a driver you have to watch out for. He will find his way to the front as this race goes on.
And you got to think to yourself, I mean, you talk about those drivers that said even after 30 laps, their tires were just, they used up pretty much every ounce of them. And if you're pitting, in the 40 to 45 lap range, there's no grip in those tires. So when you go to brake, you can't be too aggressive because there's just not enough grip in those tires. So it's a battle of wanting to be aggressive on the pit road because you can gain or lose time on the pit road, but you can lose everything if you speed.
If you ever watch the iRacing Coca-Cola series, every time they got a pit for green flag stop, Zach, they come in and they lock the tires up, they slide in. I don't know how they don't junk it every time. I really don't. But that's what you have to do. You cannot leave half a tenth out on the track under green flag conditions, because if you do, somebody's going to make up that half a tenth.
Garrett Kinder was just passed by Josh Smith. So, I mean, we saw Josh inside the top 5 earlier, and he's back into the top 5 with that move. And we saw Garrett Kinder earlier when he was in 17th. He wasn't looking very strong. And then as the long run went on, that's when he really gained speed. So we'll see if he's kind of laying back right now in 6th place and kind of biding his time until those tires start to grow a little bit older, and he can maybe gain a little bit more confidence. Maybe that's not what he's thinking, but at least that's what it looks like, as he was really solid before those green flag pit stops.
Another driver to watch out for right now is Justin Hendry. He was the guy that unfortunately started on the pole and then just knocked the tires off a little bit. I don't know if you call it a mistake or just what you would call it, but it put him behind the 8 ball. But he's worked his way up. He's actually sitting P7 right now, trying to track down Garrett Kinder, who's currently roughly 2 to 3 seconds in front of him.
Oh, I would absolutely call it a mistake, but you can't always pin something on something. Just because someone makes a mistake doesn't mean that they can't recover from it. And Justin Hendry, absolutely, he spun the tires to begin the race, but what has he done? He's, kind of recouped himself, and he's up into P7. So obviously not maybe where he would want to be starting on the pole and now sitting 7th, but a mistake like that can cost you a lot more than just 6 spots. So I imagine he's pretty happy right now sitting in 7th and a chance to make up more spots with a lot of this race left.
Another driver to hit on, Zach, is Scotty Stevens. We saw him actually gain the lead when that happened, but after that, this is a teammate, so I mean, I can say this. He's done nothing but fall since then. He's currently running 10th. He got a few spots back as his runs went on, but he's not looking nearly as strong as he did at the start of this race, and he's electing to run. He's running down below the white line, Zach, in most of these corners.
Right now, I'd like to take a quick look at the first car a lap down as Patrick Jerbick and Jamie Barkus, they keep lapping people, and Brandon Wallace is the next to be lapped as he is 29 seconds behind our leaders, and we're running about 33-second laps. So do the math, about 5-second gap in between himself and the leaders. So Sam Wetstein right now is in that free pass. Jason Warren was in the free pass earlier, but every car that gets put a lap down by these leaders takes that out of his hand for if a caution comes out. So it doesn't matter how fast you are. If cars ahead of you keep getting put a lap down, then you're no longer the first car a lap down. So Jason Warren still has some ground to make up, 9 seconds behind Sam Wetstein right now. So sitting in P17. So he has some ground to make up there if he wants to be in that free pass spot. But that's the thing, is he can go up there and pass Sam, but by the time he gets there, well, then 12th place is the first car a lap down. So you have even more to make up. So this is the tough thing that can happen when you're put behind the 8 ball, going a lap down early, and he touches the wall a little bit there.
And you've seen that right then, Zach. Ever since iRacing did that wall update where it's like a bubble in between, an air bubble almost, I guess you could say, between the car and the wall. I don't know what they even call that, but it seems like if you do actually make contact with the wall, instead of just pinballing you off and shooting you off, it's almost like a suction cup. And you saw that. Jason Warren had to slow way up to get off the wall right there.
Once again, our top two separated by about 1 or 2 car lengths, but behind them 6 seconds is Derek M. Garrison in P3. These guys are just absolutely decimating the rest of the field right now.
I've actually been watching lap times for the past 2 or 3 laps, and this lap probably not, because I'm going to say something, but Garrett Kinder's actually been about 2/10 faster than our leaders for the last few laps.
Yeah, but you got to think with how much ground they've made up, they're currently 10.3 seconds ahead of Garrett. 2/10 when you're talking about 10 seconds is unfortunately not going to make up very much.
You know, we'll be here all night at that pace. But it just shows that if a caution does fall out, if he can just stick kind of close to him, relatively close, maybe as the run goes on, he might be able to beat him. But the way it sits right now, you're going to need to be making up half a second to 3/4 of a second each lap, because these guys are their own rails tonight, as they are at every racetrack they ever go to.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, with these, and there goes Brandon Wallace down pit road, so that's going to put him lap down as he's going down to, it looks like he has some damage, but probably just a pit strategy. But, you know, if you're not a fan of racing long green flag runs, this series has not been the one for you this season, because, I mean, basically every racetrack we go to, sorry about that, these drivers have put on a show every single week, and a lot of green flag laps everywhere we go. So, I mean, just, you know, while we're here mid-race, 50 laps to go, 66 laps into a race here at Atlanta, only 1 caution so far, and that was on lap 2. So just big shout-out to these drivers. I know there's a long way to go, and we can still have cautions, but still, this is an impressive run, and shout-out to everybody. Even if you're not on track right now, if you've run in the series this season in the past, big shout-out to everybody on and off that have put on a great show every week.
You mentioned his name earlier, Zach. William Griffith in 12 Machine. You mentioned that he had a pretty good average finish, like 4th or 5th on the board in terms of average finish. And I'm pretty shocked to see he's not out here tonight, because he was sitting pretty good in the points, I'd imagine, with that good of an average finish.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he is tonight, but we'll probably see him back out on track next week. But yeah, it's a shame we can't see him out here tonight, because I definitely think he'd be one of those contenders. And I'm not sure if anyone here tonight on this long run can beat these top 2, but he'd still definitely be in that top 5 most likely. But man, yeah, I mean, these front 2 are just putting on a show here tonight. Now I believe 6-second gap, 6.6 over Derek M. Garrison, and it's only that gap's only getting bigger and bigger every lap. So Derek's doing the best job out of really anybody right now at keeping up with them the best he can, but still, that's a tough pace to match. And Josh Smith, he made a pass for fourth over Jesse Necula just that out of turn 2. So maybe he's starting to show some speed. Maybe take that top 3 away from Derek, as we're seeing a couple drivers down pit road, Justin Hendry and Scotty Stevens.
I was sitting here watching the 999, the 8 car of Garrison, watching his cockpit, and the off throttle time now as this run goes on, Zach, is remarkable. These drivers are spinning half the corners off throttle, and then even on exit, they give it throttle. They might go 3/4 throttle at one point, but then they're right back off of it, and it's pretty impressive to see how they got to ride this wall.
You know, I gotta say, I'll tell our viewers. Me and you were talking before the broadcast about a basketball game I have to watch at 10:30, and I mean, these drivers are gonna get me out of here in plenty of time to see that basketball game with how they've been driving here tonight. I mean, we went back to green lap 5 or 6, and ever since green flag. So I don't just like the long green flag runs because it gets out of the session quick, but I mean, as a race fan, just love seeing these long green flag runs. Some people might see it as boring because they get all stretched out, but I just, and you're a fellow driver as well, so you probably see it the same. But when you can get 60 lap runs like this, that just shows how much talent is on the track right now, because it is not an easy thing to do, especially at a tire eating track like this.
You're exactly right. This would be one of this or maybe a Darlington or something along them lines. This would be one of the toughest tracks for a 60 lap green flag run because of tires and because you're running up near the wall. It takes laser focus. But we just to rewind back a little bit, we were talking about the basketball game before, and we didn't know if we'd get out of here. Didn't you say you wanted the Lakers to win? Go Lakers?
No, absolutely not. No.
Thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah, that's definitely what was said for sure. No,
that's why I like calling these races with you up in the booth. We have fun up here. I mean, we call the action, we take it serious, but we do have fun. And I love calling these races with you, and I love the show these boys are putting on with the green flag run.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta have a certain etiquette, but I mean, you can get a little loose in the broadcast booth as well, have a little bit of fun while these guys are having fun. Maybe not having fun on these green flag runs. I don't know.
This is stressful times.
Absolutely.
The three races I did with them, Zach, before I joined you up in the booth, I love these green flag runs. But if you're one of them drivers that don't pit with the pack and you're super competitive, which I'm sure a lot of these drivers are, it's stressful times out there. It really is.
Well, I'm having fun up here with stressless broadcasting, I guess you can call it. So we're starting to see these leaders. They're getting caught by these lap cars on faster tires. So we're starting to see these cars that have gone down pit road, and these leaders still electing to stay out. We'll see how much longer they pit. Here, let's bring up the graphic real quick. 33 laps ago, our leaders pit. They pit 41 laps into the last one. So you gotta think to yourself, it's not going to be too much longer before we start to see some green flag pit stops from maybe not our leaders, but at least the top 10.
That's one thing I love about Rebels Racing Network. There's a lot of broadcast networks on YouTube and iRacing that cover iRacing, but this pit stop strategy, the stint length and stuff like that, that's top notch right there. You can see who's pitted where and how many spots they've gained. So kudos to you, Zach, for running something like that. It's pretty cool to see that graphic. As I hear the race chat, Garrett Kinder's telling Jesse to please hold on to it. So I guess Jesse may have got a little loose on exit.
Yeah, Garrett Kinder passed up Jesse Necula, so he's back into the top 5 and maybe starting to see some of that late run pace from him. He's a second and a half back from Josh Smith, so maybe starting to see that speed in the later run from Garrett Kinder. But a strong run for him after starting 24th, now into the top 5. So wherever he finishes tonight, obviously he'll be happier with the top 5, top 3, or really a win. But in this situation, you got to be a little realistic with yourself with how far out these leaders are. But if it were to go green all the way and he finished top 5, I imagine he'd be pretty happy after starting P24.
Man, Zach, sitting here watching Drabick and Barkus in their cockpit, it's interesting to hear how they modulate the throttle. I mean, I was watching Garrison earlier, and it seemed like he was off throttle a whole lot, and I think I see where Drabick and Barkus gaining so much time. They're even when they're coming off the throttle, they still stay in about quarter throttle. They only lift out for a split second, then they're right back in it. Maybe just a tiny little bit, but that's still putting power to that rear wheels and going faster when you got power going down.
They're definitely in the throttle more in 3 and 4. If you go on board again, they're a little bit more off throttle on 1 and 2, but then they go into 3 and 4, and it seems like they are a little bit more on throttle in 3 and 4. A little bit of a faster turn.
As you see, Barkus too. He's followed in Patrick's wake this whole time, so you know he's got to be dealing with some dirty air as he looks a little bit lower, but he's sticking right there with him, just not making a move, just riding along, clicking off laps. And that's one good thing about having a teammate, whether you're on a short track, a restrictor plate track, a super speedway, as you say, or even a 1.5 mile track like we got here. Teammates are never a bad thing to have out on the racetrack.
Yeah, and we've seen these Jam Cook guys race after race. If they're in the top 2, no matter what order, they'll really all race along, just follow the other guy around. Unless they're much faster than the guy in front of them, they'll kind of just follow each other around the track and kind of distance themselves away from the rest of the pack like they are tonight. But I do think it is holding them a little bit back in terms of, I mean, it was just an 8-second gap ahead of Josh Smith and Garrett Kinder, but that has gone down about 2 or 3 tenths, which obviously that's not going to make up enough ground if we stay green, but maybe Jamie Barkus a little bit faster than Patrick Drabick right now, but choosing to be patient behind him. And I mean, with a 7.5 second lead, you can be patient until that gets down to 3 or 4, which I'm not sure it even will.
I always get them mixed up on who's won the 2 races in a row or whatnot. But I know last week when we interviewed these drivers, Zach, the one that won the 2 races in a row didn't win, and his teammate won. And I asked him in an interview, and he said, "No, I won tonight." And I sat there for a second. He said, "Our team won," and that shows how strong of a team they are, because a win for the team felt like a win to him personally. And that's how I am with 5 Kings. I tell Scotty Stevens all the time, just because he has terrible luck, it seems like, on these racetracks. He has Jason Warren type luck, that a win for Scotty would feel like a win to me, you know? And they have the same mentality. It was awesome to hear that interview.
Yeah, Jamie Barkus, who currently sitting in P2, he has won 2 races this season, and like you mentioned, it was 2 in a row. And Patrick Drabick with 1 win on the season, and if we go green the rest of the way, well, that team's going to get another win. It's just who's going to be the one to pick it up. So it's going to be a fun one to the end here. We still have just over 30 laps to go for these drivers, and I imagine one more pit stop, as we are starting to see more drivers. So, yeah, one more pit stop till the end if we stay green. Garrett Kinder, Josh Smith have gone down pit road. Jesse Necula. So now we have only 3 drivers who are still out there. Our 2 leaders, Patrick Drabick and Jamie Barkus, and Mickey Isaac, who we saw last time, stay out. And obviously he's on fresher tires than these other drivers. Now, they're still old tires, but they are fresher than these other than the other 2 out there, Drabick and Barkus. So with him staying out until lap 70, or no, 50, sorry. He stayed out in lap 50 the last run, so he's going to stay out longer than Drabick or Barkus will this time around again.
As our leaders are electing to come in and pit, I heard them say they were pitting, so that's going to allow Mickey to regain the lead here. But look, as you see Patrick Drabick, I wanted to say that, but I did not want to interrupt you. I was going to say,
that's going to cost his teammate.
Oh, no. I was behind the scoring pylon. I missed that. But I was going to say, Zach, you got one more chance at a green flag pit stop. You have one more chance for a huge mistake to be made. And not only did that happen right there, it also may have cost his teammates. Tough break.
I think the only thing saving his teammate right now is the fact that they had a 7-second lead. But for Drabick, I mean, he spun out completely. So I'm not sure that 7-second lead is going to be able to save him. We're going to find out here. Jamie Barkus is going to get off pit road a lot sooner than Trebek, obviously, with that spin. So Jamie Barkus, we're going to see with that contact and how much he had to slow down for his teammate spinning out. Will that cost him the lead too? We're going to find out. Josh Smith, there goes Josh Smith. He just recently pit, and he's going to pass Jamie Barkus on these green flag pit stops.
I think the driver to watch here is going to be Barkus. You know he's going to be hungry. I'm trying to see where Mickey's at in front of him, but it's hard for me to pick it up right here. 01's pitting in now, so that's going to put Garrison, I think, in the lead if my timing and scoring is correct.
Yeah, so Garrison, he was our third place driver, so he is going to be the. Sorry, I had said Josh Smith, but I got the wrong person. Derek Garrison, who was in P3 before that, he's going to be the one to take advantage of it and take the lead with that mistake. Jamie Barkus back to P6. It'll be P5 once Mickey Isaac has pit, and Derek Garrison is now, let me check, 11 seconds ahead of Jamie Barkus. So that was, and wow, I mean, Derek Garrison, I think he might have taken 2 tires because he is currently 10 seconds or so over these drivers that he was just really close to. So maybe I think he did take 2 tires, and with about 26 laps to go or so, 27, we'll see how that works out.
That's very, very risky, Zach, but I hit on it earlier when we were talking about Mickey and them when they were staying out. Nobody out here has demonstrated they have the race pace that Jamie Barkus and Patrick Trebek had. Jamie Barkus and Patrick Trebek. So if you're going to beat them boys tonight, there's 2 options. 1, they're going to beat themselves, or 2, you're going to have to make an aggressive pit call. And 2 tires, that's pretty aggressive, Zach. With the way we've seen the tire fall off tonight, that's really, really aggressive. You're playing with a dead man's hand, I feel like, in poker. But it might be able to work out, but we see the lead slowly evaporating.
Yeah, Jamie Barkus has now made a pass for the 2nd position, as maybe on a little bit fresher tires than these other guys, pitting later than they did, and that puts him into P2, and already it was just 10 seconds. Now it's 9.7. So with 26 laps to go, can he make up that time of 9.5 seconds? And frankly, I think he can, just because of the sheer pace that 4 tires are going to have compared to 2.
I'm not really sure on when Garrison pitted in that 8 machine or the 999, whatever you want to call it. I know he pitted a little bit earlier than them, but I don't know. If he took 4 tires, he shouldn't be that much far off of them. But I'm with you. I think he definitely took 2 tires.
Oh, yeah. I'm fully confident he took 2 just because of how far he was out ahead of these drivers. He pit 13 laps ago, so.
And Barkus pitted, I don't even see it on your screen.
Just a couple laps ago.
Yeah, like 2 laps ago. That's going to, the pace is going to be different. I mean, 10 laps here is like 30 laps Bristol, I feel like. So, yes, the pace will definitely be drastically different.
I mean, we're only 2 laps later, and it's gone down to 8 seconds. It was just 9.5. So, I honestly have no doubt, unless a caution comes out and everybody pits, that Jamie Barkus is going to be able to catch him and take the lead back. Or take the lead, since his teammate made that mistake. And speaking of his teammate, Trebek, he's in 17th right now with that mistake.
Tough break and a lap down, too, on top of all that. Yeah, very, very tough break after leading the first, 85 laps, Zach? 86, 87 laps?
Seems like, yeah. So right now, your leader, Derek M. Garrison, remind you that he's new to this series, so he's really trying to put his handprint into this series. He's trying to make a statement, and I mean, if this can work out, it will. I mean, he would, and maybe even if he doesn't win, finishing top 3 if he can, or so. Oh no, I think Jamie Barkus had a little bit of. He got slowed down by a lap car. He was about 6.8 seconds back, and it dropped to 7, and I was afraid he wrecked, but. Just slowed up a little bit by old tires, but he'll try to get back to it. That helps Derek Garrison out a little bit. But even if Derek doesn't win this race, I mean, it's been an impressive showing from him in his first start of the series, and looking forward to seeing him out on track with these guys for even more races after tonight, hopefully. But he's looking to make that statement. But with 21 laps to go, I mean, it just went from 7 to 6.4 and not even a lap. So we'll see what happens. He can get a timely caution, but if one doesn't come out, I don't think he's going to be very lucky.
Yeah, I think caution or not, Jamie Barks is coming. It's just a matter of when he's going to get there. And I mean, I think Josh Smith's also gaining on him too, because I saw a lot of people that was 10 seconds behind, and now you got on my timing and scoring, which is going to be a lap behind. Oh yeah, Josh Smith is gaining. He just gained a second right then on mine. So Josh Smith is 7.8 seconds back, and Garrett Kendrick started in the back, started 24th. He's sitting 9.4 seconds behind the leader.
But yeah, you had mentioned it. You mentioned differing pit strategies to try to do something separated from the leaders, because if you just follow the leaders to pit road and they're already faster than you, then you're not going to be able to do anything about taking the lead. So doing something different, took 2 tires, and we'll see if it works out here with 19 laps to go. Like I said, sorry I'm not being the biggest optimist on Derek's side, but I mean, we'll see how it goes.
We just call it how we see it, and that's what you got to do up here. And I would love to see a newcomer in the league come in and start off batting 1,000 in his first race ever with the series. But I mean, Jamie Barks and Patrick Bick, they have been the dominant cars all night, and slowly but surely he is fishing in Derek Garrison in that 999 machine.
I like the sports reference. Batting 1,000, shooting 100%. We got any kicking 100%? I don't know. I'm just trying to bring in as many sports references as we can for that. Oh my God, they're 3 wide in front of them. Let's hope that doesn't turn out to be a wreck, as it looks like no smoke. That is another thing with iRacing. This update is sometimes it's harder to tell if there's a wreck out in front of that car. But with the new smoke package, you can tell immediately.
So we hit on this like 3 weeks back, Zach. Somebody was in a burnout, and we said, man, we wish iRacing would fix the smoke, and they listened to us. So if there's any more suggestions you got or I got, we need to throw them out now, because they're listening to us, because they fixed the smoke, and thank goodness they did. But with that said, if you're looking at the windshield in one of these cars, driving one of these cars, and somebody wrecks in front of you, it's pretty hard to tell where them cars are going now.
I will say, with Derek's pace right now, he's going to make this interesting. He was half a second slower than Jamie Barkas that last time around, but we're coming down to very few laps to go. I mean, in 3 or 4 laps, Jamie Barkas has gained about a second on him, but if a pass does happen for the lead, some lap traffic ahead, if a pass does happen for the lead, it's probably going to be under 10 laps to go, maybe just around. So while, I'm still remaining a little iffy on if he's going to be able to keep the lead, he's going to at least make it interesting with only 15 laps to go.
Absolutely. The plus side for Derek right now is the laps are counting down, and getting to him is the easy part. You still got to get by him, and I mean, he's that much faster than him. You would think if it gets to him, he'll be able to get by him pretty easy. But if the 8 car, 999 of Derek Garrison, if he just stays on that high line, who knows? I mean, you don't know how these races are going to shake out. And that's what makes them so awesome to call up in the booth. So Scotty Stevens, something happened to him, because I see he's right behind Garrison now, Zach, and he was running like 8th or 9th a while ago. So we got other drivers electing to pit again right now.
Yeah, I did see like 3 or 4 names go down pit road. I just didn't say anything about it. Josh Lokenvent, speaking of, he just went down to pit road. So, yeah, I think we're seeing some cars go down to pit road just because, I mean, they're in that position where they're like, well, I mean, if we just go green the rest of the way, there's nothing I can do, so might as well try something different.
And these cars that's 1 lap down, I would think if a caution was to come out between now and lap 105 maybe, would the lead cars pit? I mean, I would think so, but I mean, you never know. But I would probably.
Now with lap traffic, this lead has stayed above 3.5 seconds the last couple of laps. So if lap traffic can keep going his way and he can keep running these consistent laps, it'll start to look better and better for this 999 machine.
I'm just seeing the drivers also behind Jamie Barkus. I don't think they have time to get up there to him, Zach, but they are gaining on him too. And slowly but surely, Josh Smith's actually gaining on Jamie Barkus as well. Now, lap traffic may be playing a big part of that, as Josh Smith was 3/10 faster than Jamie that past lap.
Yeah, Jamie, I think he was behind 2-lap cars, so I think that did make a splash in that time, you could say, to why he was a little bit slower, as it's still over 3.5 seconds. So, I mean, the laps are shrinking down, and maybe these tires are starting to even out a little bit more. And it's like I said, every lap it's starting to look better and better for Derek. I know that I wasn't hating on his strategy, but I was a little wondering if it would work or not, thinking maybe it wouldn't, but it's starting to look better as we inch closer to 10 laps to go.
It's a risky call, and like I said, it's pretty aggressive. But if it works out, he's going to look like a hero here, you know. And the way it's shaking out right now, Zach, I don't think it's possible for him to fall outside the top 5 at least. So a podium finish in your first race when you're starting 24 cars in a super competitive field, you can't be mad about that.
I mean, the last time around, Derek ran a 33.45, and Jamie ran a 33.25. So that kind of pace, I don't think is going to do it for Jamie. So right now, it's starting to look better. 33.53 that last time around for Derek, and a 33.36. So about 0.2 slower consistently. But as long as he's consistent with it, I mean, 9 laps to go, 3.2 seconds. It's looking good.
And Jamie Barkus has a pretty congested track up right here right now, as he got by 2 of them. So I think the 66 is the last car for a few laps maybe. Let me check to make sure before I look like a dummy.
By the way, just mind my surprise tone, because, I mean, I absolutely am surprised that it's working out this well for Derek. I did not think 2 tires would work out, but, man, he has proven me absolutely wrong with 8 laps to go now, 3.7 second lead. If a caution just does not come out, I think he's going to win this race. But that's the tough part about the end of these races, is those timely cautions, or untimely, I guess you could say, for Derek.
And that's where the stress comes in for me as a driver. I mean, you feel like no matter what you do, you're going to be on the wrong side of the 8 ball. But it's looking right now, Zach, that he made the call of the race.
Yeah, and in real life, they talk about when you get closer to the end, you start feeling everything. And thankfully in iRacing, other than feeling your connection slip and, getting disconnected from the race, there's nothing you can really feel in that car that's going to shake, or just because it is a simulator. But there is one thing that does translate, whether it's real life or simulator, and it is the closing laps and the anxiety that builds up waiting for that caution before you get that white flag. So that is the one thing that translates from real racing to sim racing, is just that anxiety.
Yeah, you might not feel a vibration, you might not feel a tire going bad, but you're feeling the nerves for sure. And I haven't won a whole lot of league races, but I've won several, and I still get nervous as the laps start to wind down, because these leagues that we race in are so competitive. I mean, look at Jamie Barkus and Patrick Trubisky, what they were doing all night, and now Jamie Barkus is trying to chase down Derek Garrison, but he's not making no ground up now. It's just been a complete change of fortune.
I'm still trying to think back and make sure it made sense to me, or not made sense, but I'm trying to make sure that me saying he took 2 tires does make sense, because I don't know for sure, but I feel like when we were looking at the times when we were with Garrett Kinder was only a couple seconds behind Derek. I could be wrong, but it feels like Garrett Kinder was only a couple seconds behind Derek, and after the pit stops, he was 10 seconds behind. So, I mean, I want to be, completely 100% that he took 2 tires, but that is the bad thing about only having a 2-man show and, no pit reporters or anything, is that is a tough thing to keep track of when you're trying to keep track of every car on track. But we will ask Derek for sure if he took 2 tires or not when we interview him, if we interview him, because, again, cautions can come out and a lot can happen. But with 3 laps to go now, when he crosses the start-finish line, Derek Garrison If he did take 2, if I was right, then if we were right, then yeah, absolutely the call of the race.
And I mean, we hit on it earlier, and we saw it from our leader. Tough pit road to hit. So maybe Garrett Kinder, maybe he had a mistake going down road. Sorry, I put 2 words together. He may have had a mistake to create that gap, but
Yeah.
I'm with you. I would bet all my money, I think, on Derek Garrison that he took 2 tires just by the gap he created. But we'll find out, hopefully, or not hopefully, but maybe in the next 2 laps right here.
Yeah, 2 laps. We could definitely. That's going to be the first thing I ask him for sure. We need to clear the air on if he took 2 or not. But speaking of 2, yeah, 2 laps to go, and needs to get that white flag before a caution comes out, because then the next flag would end it no matter what. But he needs to get around to that white flag. This is the longest turn of your life, is 2 to go, turn 3 and 4. You just want to get to that white flag, but you can't get to it any faster thinking about it. But he does. The white flag is out. Derek Garrison 1 lap around to win his first start of the season. And, I mean, just what a showing.
Starting P18s on the grid, Zach, and drove his way up to the front in that long green flag run at the beginning and pitted and maybe got off cycle from the leaders, and it proved. And as we see here, he's coming around to take the checkered flag.
Derek M. Garrison in that iRacing Chevrolet around turn 4. The checkered flags are out. Derek Garrison wins at Atlanta Motor Speedway in his first start of the Xtreme Xfinity Series. Jamie Barkus comes home second. Josh Smith third. And the rest of your top 5 being Garrett Kinder and Jesse Necula. Seven drivers tonight finish on the lead lap.
That's a product of the long green flag run. And I was watching Jamie Barks in the last 10, 15 laps just in his cockpit, and you can tell the intensity ramped up for him the last 5 or so laps. I watched him kind of get into the, not kind of, I mean, he did. He got into the wall a few times, and you could tell he was trying. He just couldn't get there. So a valiant effort by Derek Garrison to come out here and win his very first ever start with the original Rebels Xtreme Xfinity Series.
111 laps. Green flag racing here tonight. We only had 4 caution laps, and that was at the beginning of the race. So what a showing. 1 caution on lap 2, and that was it.
Oh, Derek, he might be a rookie in this series, but he's not a rookie in burning them down. Look at him. He's giving us a little bit of a smoke show here.
Showcasing that new smoke.
That didn't look like a very good showcase of it, but I promise you, folks, it's
Well,
different, and when there's a wreck on track, it's very hard to see.
that was more smoke than if you burned it down for 20 seconds straight before the update. So
For sure.
I will take it I'll take it over what it used to be.
Absolutely.
They can keep improving it as the updates come along, but that's a good start, and it's a good start for Derek in this series.
So, Zach, before we start the interviews, I want to clarify one more time. I told you I'd forget. Just for clarity reasons, Jamie Barkers is the guy that's won 2 races, correct?
Yep.
10-4.
But yeah, that just shows. I mean, it was looking great for Jam Cook Racing. 2 of their drivers in the top 2, and 1 big pit mistake by by Patrick Trebek in front of Jamie Barkus. Maybe cost both of them, and I'm not going to say that in I don't mean that in a mean way, but it's the truth. I mean, Trebek spins out in front of Barkus. Barkus has to slow down, even a little bit of contact, and ultimately that kind of cost Jam Cook Racing maybe the win here tonight. But Derek Garrison looked strong on those 2 older tires, if he did take 2 tires, and we are about to clarify that here after he's done burning it down.
Yeah, he's just having fun at this point.
There's a better showing of it. All right.
All right, Garrison. That's actually 1-4, buddy. Let's go.
I actually don't see him in the
I don't
Discord.
see him in Discord.
It's a bit unfortunate.
I know we got Josh Smith and Jamie Barks in the waiting room right now, and I will try to get Derek to jump over to our Discord real quick.
I'm not even sure if he's in the Discord itself.
Well, I can say I did my due diligence. I wrote him a message asking him to join the Discord if he could, so we shall see.
All right. Well, we'll start off with Josh Smith then, since he's in the waiting room. Hey, Josh, Zach and Tanner in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, well, really, I mean, great showing from you tonight. You started P9, and we saw you in that top 5 the majority of the race. We only had 4 caution laps in tonight's race, and I mean, not many tougher tracks to run these long green flag runs on than Atlanta, with how much it eats up the tires. Just how bad were those tires feeling when you got into the long green flag run?
They were a nightmare in the second and third set. The first set, I feel like I really saved well, and I went about that in the second and third. But I think just the green flag, and you're trying to pick up and catch up to the guys that pitted before you. It's real easy to overdrive the car, I feel. And the second and third were rough.
So, Josh, I watched you for a long portion of the green flag run. You were running really, really steady laps, and I heard you say you were looking to conserve your tires, and you and Garrett battled for a little bit there. Was you afraid battling as the race went on that maybe you would have to force your hand and maybe take another stop just because you hurt your tires so much? Because we do know Atlanta is tough on the tires.
Yeah, he was definitely keeping me on pace. He staying about a second and a half behind me. So I knew as long as I kept him about that, I was good. But towards the end there, I was really dying off. So I knew if we got a caution, I was going to have to pit. There's no way I was staying out there.
That's kind of what I was wondering. Who would be a taker if that late race caution was to fall? Well, Josh, I mean, marvelous race, buddy. You stayed quiet, you kept your nose clean, but like Zach said, you stayed up in the top 5 for a huge majority of the race, and you executed everything flawlessly on your end. So congratulations on your 3rd place finish tonight, buddy. You got any sponsors or shout outs you want to throw out?
Nothing really. I just want to thank Rebels Racing Network. I want to thank you guys in the booth for broadcasting this and doing a good show. Thank everybody else racing clean tonight. And I mean, I did not expect to go 112, 111 laps green because I surely didn't practice for that. I just lucked out, I feel. But yeah, thanks for everybody in the Rebels Racing League for being just a good group of dudes.
All right, congrats, man.
Thank
you. Oh, cut him off. My bad, Josh. All right, we move on to Jamie Barkus now. Not a stranger to the top 3 in the interview room. Hey, Jamie, Zach, and Tanner to the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you guys.
Well, I mean, you can talk about it if you want, but I'll kind of skip over what happened there on pit road. And ultimately that probably cost you. But other than that, I mean, just a great race tonight for Jam Cook Racing, and obviously not the result for Jerbick as he probably wanted. But man, just how were you guys able to run that high line and be a lot stronger than everybody else seemed to be?
Oh, beats me. I didn't expect to run the high line. We saw everybody else was doing that in practice, and kind of the last 5 minutes of practice, I went up and tried it, and I figured, well, they're probably getting better tire wear up here. So, but I did not expect the race to go that way. I expected to fall back quite a ways running that, but I don't know. It just was very weird. The race did not go anywhere near how I expected it to go.
So, Jamie, Zach, all right, you Jam Cook guys, I mean, y'all were the most dominant cars easily tonight, and it took a small mistake that kind of took you out of contention, but you were riding second, following in Patrick Trebick's tire tracks every single lap. Was you content just riding behind him and getting a win for the team, or do you think you may have been a little bit faster than him at portion of the race? And did you ever actually want to try to get by him?
Yeah. Look, I mean, we're not going to race each other, at least not until maybe the last couple laps or something if we've got a big lead. But yeah, for most of the race, we're just whoever's in front's in front. That's just the way it's going to be. I was probably a little faster than him through maybe 3/4 of the run. But towards the last quarter of every run, he was pulling away from me. He was definitely better with his tires than I was. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. We made our decision on the pit stop. Pat actually wanted to go a little bit earlier, and I said no. Let's just stick with what we've planned. We've made, and that cost us the race. Lap traffic was a factor in the race. Some guys were very accommodating, and other guys just weren't, and that's kind of irritating when lappers are out there that late in the race, making it difficult on lead lap cars.
Oh, Jamie, I mean, I'm a broadcaster tonight, but I understand completely. I race 6 other nights out of the week, and I totally feel your pain in that, and I hear it in your voice that you're disappointed. It's heartbreak because you wanted to come out here, especially after what happened on pit road. You wanted to at least get the team win, so I understand it completely. So with that said, I mean, congratulations on a second place finish. Another great showing by the whole team, obviously. And is there any sponsors or shout outs you want to throw out there?
Oh, sure. Always got to thank G2G Trailers, Travis Lee Creative, Tracks for Vets. Everybody that helps us during the week practice. We got some other guys that help out from time to time. So, it's not just us doing this. A lot of people behind us, and you guys up in the booth, we appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, like I said, congratulations on a second place finish. I know it's one spot shy of what you or your teammate wanted, but it's another good points night, and you'll be back here next week doing the same thing again because you've done it week in and week out so far. So congratulations.
Absolutely. It's another week. This one's over with. So we'll start getting ready for Iowa. Actually, we'll start getting ready for the All-Star race on Sunday. Looking forward to that.
Well, there you have it, Zach. They're looking forward to the All-Star race, and unfortunately, I missed it by one spot because of the Truck Series race.
Yeah, that All-Star race is going to definitely be fun at Auto Club, and looking forward to that. But, I mean, man, great race tonight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Derek M. Garrison, your winner, but I'm not seeing him in the Discord. So if you're watching right now, or if you end up watching it, Derek, congrats on your win. Wish to have you in the interview for the booth, or in the booth for the interview here tonight. But nonetheless, congratulations on not only that call, but the call that got you to the victory. So now we'll move on to the results of the race. And with that, Tanner, last thoughts on tonight's race?
Yeah, I just want to second what you said earlier on in the race, that bravo job to these guys to come out here on a track that's known to kill tires. I mean, that's been the topic of the night, tires. How many times have we mentioned that tonight? And not only they come out here and put on a good show, but they did it. They had a 111 lap green flag run. So that's pretty impressive. And then I also want to second what Jamie Barkas said. I never in my life thought I'd see every car elect to run the high line in Atlanta, but they did tonight. I figured it'd be a low line race and hard to pass, and it was hard to pass just because Highline was so fast. So other than that, it was a great race. Congratulations to Derek M. Garrison and the 99/8 machine on capturing the first win in his debut race, and can't wait to come back next week at Iowa, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I said that remark at lap 61. So we still had over 50 laps to go, and I was thinking in my mind, I didn't say on the broadcast, I was like, there's no way we're not getting another caution. And, well, we didn't, and, I mean, what a fantastic race at Atlanta. 111 green flag run. I mean, that just, you don't really see that happen at Atlanta. So, nonetheless, in these Xfinity cars, which are one of the hardest cars to drive in the NASCAR realm. So, just one last big shout out to these drivers here tonight for the show they put on. And obviously, 7th place was the last car on the lead lap with Joey Buscemi, and that's what happens. You said it. That's what happens when you get these long green flag runs. So there's your results for tonight's race. Hope you guys enjoyed. We sure did up here in the booth. I mean, I can't speak for the both of us, but I imagine you enjoyed that as well. And I'm looking forward to Iowa. That's another kind of a tough track in terms of you can get really loose on throttles. So another tough track, and we're going to see if maybe these drivers can tame another one and give us another great showing, which I have no doubt they will. So thank you guys for tuning in here tonight. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night. I won't be broadcasting, but the open for the All-Star race will be tomorrow night, where we decide which driver gets into the All-Star race on Sunday. Whoever can win tomorrow night's race will. It's a 75 lap event at Auto Club. And then make sure to tune in on Intensity Broadcasting on Sunday for the All-Star race, 100 laps at Auto Club. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in. It's been Zach and Tanner in the booth. Have a good night.